Welcome. This is Livingstone as we go through the series on value-based leadership. I hope it's been a blessing to you. And so just to recap, we've just gone through quite a number of them. So we looked at managing internal and external challenges. Internal challenges, obviously, more complex. Overcoming adversity, changing adversity to be a platform for growth. Then number 3, we looked at also overcoming fear. Fear comes and destroys your identity and also your visions. Then we saw managing success, so that you can go up and grow and become rich and all that, but you still humble and to do the purposes of God and the assignment that God has given unto you. And also maintaining a visionary posture. Always be visionary. Visions are generational. It's not just about you. We looked at the team dynamics, the different types of phases in a team formation, storming, norming, all the way to performing. Which leadership style do you use in different when the team is in different phases? And then we saw staying spiritually grounded. Why is it important for you to be grounded as an entrepreneur, as a market leader, or a business, or a pastor, or whatever position you are in? And then also last time we looked at balancing family and ministry or business, and today we'll be looking at dealing with the rejection and betrayal. Very interesting topic. And so just to do a very high level recap on what we learned last time about family, we saw that your family is the first congregation, is the first client. If you're a business person, if you're a master in the industry or captain in the industry, whatever God has positioned you, your family is the first responsibility. As a pastor, your family is the first responsibility. And lead others with love. When you lead, what we are saying is you always ensure that you lead your family with love and not with the leftovers. Sometimes we serve other people in ministry or whatever, we give them a lot of love, but we forget to love our families. So we should always not come to love our families based on the leftovers after we've gone and loved other people. If we're in business, we should always remember the family. And so this is something we need to be intentionally careful, because sometimes we can go overboard and forget, or we ignore. Because we say familiarity brings contempt. Sometimes we're too familiar with our spouses and our family, and we don't give them the attention that they deserve. We realize it when it's too late. So there's tension between family and balancing that life, and that's something we need to be very careful. We looked at that. We saw that the ministry starts at home. The family is the first church that I need to deal with, and it's very, very important. Looking at my spouse, looking at my children, connecting with them at different phases of life, from age 0 to 08. Very, very important when the kid is being formed, in terms of putting the virtues and the values that we desire. And also in the teenage life, connecting with them, because after that it becomes very difficult if we didn't connect with them. And so we talked about the signs. Which are the signs if you are not connecting with your family? When they start being withdrawing, they are far away, or there's no connection and all that. So if you want to get that, go to the last session that we did, and you will get that. We also looked at how to realign the priorities in case you discover there's something not right. How do you do that? So create boundaries, involve your family, be fully present and all that. And also we saw the advantage of if you're serving together with your family in ministry, and that's very, very important. And so we saw that sometimes we need to have difficult conversations with our spouses or with our children. And sometimes if you're a leader and you're criticized, or they tell you the truth, it's always good also to take it positively and just correct, so that you ensure that your family, you're giving the priority. So some tough questions here. Are there signs in your family that your family feels that you are giving them second hand love and all that, or the leftovers from the workplace or the ministry? That's something for you and me to think about. What boundaries have you established between church and home, especially for us in church ministry? Is there a boundary between your family and your home, your finances, how you use your finances at home and at ministry? And this is a challenge. When I was thinking about this is something I saw. There are areas I need to correct, there are areas I need to pay attention. And so these lessons are also It's also, as I said initially, I'm not the expert, but these are discussion areas for you and for me, which we need to be always be careful and always keep checking. And then, who holds you accountable for keeping family a priority? Do you have somebody who checks on you? Do you have somebody or a group or a team that you share? That is an important thing to know. So it's important for us, to look at the family, and always remember the family is the biggest responsibility that God has given us, and the most wonderful thing that you can get. Getting kids and raising them and see them growing to kids and teenage, and being that all the way to grandparents. I just experienced the other day just being a grandparent, and I can tell you it's amazing when you see a kid, they grow up and now they're having their own, and what a blessing that it is. And so it's important for us always to take care of the family, because you may forget the family, get all the other successes, but then later you end up being very lonely, very rejected, and you don't want to move to that. You want to know that also the children that God gave you and the people that God gave you are responsible to bring them up the right way. So let's dig in now to the next challenge, that is dealing with the rejection and betrayal. And this is something that no one in this life can say that they've never been rejected or they didn't go through betrayal. A case in example is Jesus. Jesus was rejected. He was rejected. He was betrayed with a kiss, by one of his people that he trained. He worked with the guy for 3 years, and then he betrayed him with a kiss of all things. So you can imagine. So somebody can even give you a gift or a kiss, but they will betray you. So that's something you can think about. Peter denied him. Peter, of all the people, he said he doesn't know him for 3 times. So it's an example that you need to know that in this life we will go through. It's not a matter of when. It's not a matter that will it happen. As I can read here, in leadership, rejection and betrayal are not possibilities. They are certainties. It's just a matter of when. And so it's important for us to mature in leadership, to know to deal with the rejection and betrayal in ministry, in family, in relationships, and all these things. And so the pain of why is it so painful when we are rejected or betrayed? Because it's maybe you meant well, and then somebody means that they interpreted or their perception was wrong, or maybe you sacrificed your time or your money for somebody and they didn't appreciate it, and then even they came back to you and rejected you and all that. Or maybe you included somebody, you gave them space, you are vulnerable to them, and you shared some deep things, and then later they used the same to go and betray you. And I can tell you that's why the pain. But you must learn to lead with scars. So when betrayal comes and when rejection comes, it brings some wounds, some pain, and you really need to be very careful that you don't go now leading when you are paining. You need, number one, to heal, and that's why we are saying you lead with your scars. You lead when you're already healed, because if you lead others with the pain of what you're going through, then you'll be a toxic leader. And so that is very important. And those are some of the issues we are talking about. Self-awareness, self-leadership is being aware, because we say, how can you lead others if you cannot lead yourself? And how can you lead yourself if you're not self-aware of yourself, if you don't know what is happening? So if I'm hurt, I'm wounded, then I need to know I need to heal, because if I lead in that situation, I will not be effective and I will be toxic. And that is what we're talking about, maturity and just managing ourselves and emotional intelligence. And because rejection will come, betrayal will come, the issue is when it comes, how do you deal with that? And so betrayal shapes us, and it can show that all over the world. It reveals the depth of how you trusted people. The more you trusted people, the more they will hurt you. And so it's important for you to know, for those people who really trust, and I'm one of such, you just trust and trust and trust, and when you're hurt, it really hurts. And so it's important to know that, and also it tests the depths of your dependence of God. For those people who are more dependent on God, who trust God, who are passionate with God, who have intimacy with God, they are able to overcome rejection and betrayal. because they hold on to God and they believe in God, compared to those who don't have a relationship. And that's why we are saying you grounded spiritually. That was one of the things we said. It's important for you to be grounded spiritually as a leader, as a business person, as a parent, because when these things comes, then you'll hold on to God, just as we learned from David. And so your leadership, this is a good one. I want you to listen there. Your leadership maturity is shown not or in how you respond to applause, or when the world is happy with you and they're clapping and they're cheering you on. That is not leadership. Leadership maturity is measured in how you respond to betrayal and rejection. So the way you react when you're betrayed, the action you take really depicts your maturity. There's somebody who can be rejected, and in the next minute, the whole world through social media, they know what you're feeling, what they have done. But if you're mature, there must be a difference, a time limit. When you're teaching emotional intelligence, we say you can be activated, or somebody can do something that really hurts you, and that brings in a stimulus. A stimulus is when you're really stimulated. You want to do something. You want to tell them what you think. You want to grab that, and do some damage over them. But the difference, the time limit you put between the response and the actual what you do, that time difference is very, very important. And we are told you need to make it as much as possible. You should not just react every time somebody does something and immediately you are writing the SMS, or you are cussing them, or you're telling them. No, you should let that period be as big, as much as possible, so that also you become rational, and then you're able to respond with maturity. And that's what we are talking about. And that's why we can see from Jesus, the same people he fed, and they did everything, and they said, crucify him. We don't need him. And they release the other guy who is a killer, but just destroy him. And so Jesus just looked at them, and it's very amazing, the spiritual maturity, the leadership maturity. That's why I always say Jesus is the best leader, and I learned so much from him. And that's why I love the word of God, because I learned. Jesus said, Father, forgive them, for they don't know. That was maturity. He just forgave them. He didn't carry any grudge. He just understood from where they are coming from, and he knew he had an assignment to finish, and he had said, Father, I have finished the work that you gave me. That is in John 17, I think verse 22. So you can see the maturity. So for us, forgiveness, it's not easy. It's not forgetting, but it's releasing. It's trusting in God. And so one of the things you really have to learn when you're dealing with the rejection and betrayal is to forgive. You have to forgive. I know you're saying, how can I forgive? They did this. Yes, it's okay. You are justified even to go and justify what they did. But do you know what? The best solution and the way to treat it is to forgive and to let go. It's not forgetting, but you forgive. You release them. You release that issue. And that is one of the ways that, that God helps us. And you just leave it to God to vindicate. And that is very important. So when you are talking about guarding your heart without crossing it, it's important, because you'll be hurt. People will betray you. People you really trusted, and you gave them your secrets. They backstab you. They do all these things to you. It's very painful. But one of the things is, after being hurt, the temptation is to become very guarded and, bitter. Bitterness is dangerous. You will withdraw, but leaders must keep their hearts open while learning from the pain. And that is leadership maturity. That you are leading people, they are still double crossing you, and you're doing this, you still love them, you still visit them. If you're a pastor, you still love on them. They have issues, you still attend unto them. And that is, that's what we are saying. Leaders must keep their hearts open. You have your heart open while learning from the pain as we're going. How do you do this? You may ask me how. So practice selective vulnerability. One of the things I've learned in life is sometimes I'm too vulnerable, and maybe I just talk about so much, expose my weaknesses or what I'm going through. And some people I've seen, they can take advantage of that, and they use your weakness, things you disclose to them as a friend, because you thought they were honest friends, and then they use that and go, they negate it or they twist it, and then they hurt you. But so one of the things I've learned now is to be selective. It's good to be vulnerable, but also to be selective. Don't just be vulnerable to everybody and to everything, and so you need to be selective. So that is one very important thing. Be open but wise. It's important to be wise. It's good to be vulnerable. It's good to train people. It's good to disclose and encourage them, but you also need to be vulnerable selectively. Number 2, learn to process privately and act publicly. So sometimes it's important for you to withhold and process, what's going on with these relations, or what they've done, and what your feelings are, but then you act publicly. So it's important before you act, take time in your private, in your closet, just to figure out what's going on and select and forgive before you go opening your mouth out there or sending everything in the social media or exposing yourself and your emotions out there. So number 3 is separate the person from the action. That's something also I've seen that helps me, is when everybody, and that's a position I usually take. Everybody I meet, they're good. A friend who double crosses me or did this or betrayed me, it's just that you have to separate that person. That person is okay, and the action may be wrong or what they did, but that you need to separate the person, and that really helps you to be more objective and not subjective. The meaning of the word objective is being factual, and the meaning of the word subjective is being very emotional. There are people who are just emotional. They don't, they are not objective at all. And so it's important to separate the issue. And then through that, you're able to see the lens of that person and from where they're coming from and their mindset. And sometimes that helps you even to process and to forgive and to let go. And the other thing is also let God do the inner healing before you make outer decisions. So it's important, if you are so hurt, somebody really hurt you and somebody you loved or something, and just allow God. And it's that I go back again to why I said it's good to have intimacy with God, and that's why you need to be grounded spiritually, because God is our lock. Jesus Christ is our lock. He's our refuge. We can run to him. He'll never leave us nor forsake us. He's given us the Holy Spirit, our teacher, our comforter, our strengthener, our standby. He is with us, in us and with us, and will never leave us. And when you anchor with him, when everybody has betrayed you, they've left you, and you feel like you are alone, that is the time to cling to God and to let God heal your heart, heal your soul. Because if you start acting and talking when you are so hurt, you will bring more damage and you will be a toxic leader. And that's what you're talking about, maturity, leadership maturity. Leaders who are mature, they take time. They don't just open up their mouth. And that's why many times you go to our old folks, our grandma, our granddad, and you're burning, you want to act, and you're angry. Most of the time, they just tell you to cool down. Take a rest. Let's talk about this tomorrow. Because they know the process of, when you act, when you are angry, you are irrational. And most of the time, the decisions you make are not the right decisions. And so that's why we're saying, let God bring the inner healing. Before you go there and you make your outer decisions, just postpone making those rash decisions that you regret for life. And so it's important. And that's what you're talking about, being leadership maturity, emotional intelligence, managing your emotions. Yes, they've left you. Yes, they have betrayed you. But you really need to synthesize, what's going on, and be very objective. And so one of the issues that I've seen is when people leave you, it's very hurting. It can happen, in a relationship. It can happen in ministry, and it's very hurting. But you can look at it from the other side. Sometimes we left people, so we hurt them, but also sometimes people leave us and hurt us. And so it's important to be objective when you're looking at that. And when people leave, it's important. It stings, it's painful. But sometimes God allows people to leave us so that we can grow. That's an interesting concept. Sometimes God will let some people grow because they know if they don't go, those people don't go, apart from us, we may not grow to some levels. And I've looked back and I've seen there are people, maybe I've left places, or people have left me, and it was painful, but it opened another door for me. It opened another area. It brought in some capacity that were inside me that I didn't know. And so sometimes it's always good to look at it. People will come. Actually, there's one thing I had some years back in my book. I had written, "Life is a parting." And I had discovered life is, even you do think about it, all the people the way when you are primary school, high school, college, working and different areas before you moved in, maybe migrated to another state of where you are right now, their life is a party. You have friends, you thought they were BFF forever, but then after some time something's happened, or you moved or changed jobs, and life went on, and you discovered other friends and all that. So that's another thing that we need to always be conscious about. That is, life is a party, and that is part of life. People will come and people will go, and that is okay. And so when they come and they go, bless them, let them, release them, and refocus. It's important. And I read again, so bless them. If somebody comes in and they have to go for whatever reason, just bless them, release them, let them go. Releasing is very important, because you read them out of your heart, and you allow them, and it gives you an opportunity to refocus. You cannot refocus unless you release them. So it's important. So when people come, they are critical in your role, in your organization or whatever, or in your personal life, and they have to go, just bless them, just release them, and refocus. So I think that's a good point that I've seen. And you are not defined by who stays with you, but you are defined by being faithful on what God has given unto you. So how many people stays with you does not define your success. What is important is the faithfulness to the purpose and the assignment God has given you. So the other thing is also rebuilding trust is very painful. When you've been hurt by one person, there's a temptation that you generalize something to anybody. Just thinking because so and so did this to me, so everybody will do that to me. So this is something that we have to be careful. Not everyone will betray you, but betrayal can make you suspicious of everyone. So it's very important also to be mature and also to fight that. Not because X betrayed you or left you doesn't mean Y will do the same. Doesn't mean Z will do the same. And so rebuilding trust means what? Maybe a few definitions here before we finish is healing first. So rebuilding trust, number one, as I said, never lead when you're hurt. Heal. And that's sometimes you've seen even in ministry, somebody steps down and takes some time off to go and heal. And sometimes when you hurt so much, and I've seen that happen a lot, somebody goes maybe into another ministry and first they stay down and they heal. It's important. Heal, and then you're able now to refocus and to rebuild your life. And healing first before rehiring or re-engaging. It's very important before you re-engage. If you are in a relationship and then it didn't happen, something happened, somebody betrayed you, it didn't work, or they rejected you, take time. Don't rush from one relationship to another before you're healed. That will be a disaster. I can assure you, it will be a disaster. And so it's important to heal first. When somebody hurts you, take time in prayer, trust in God, and heal. And the other thing is also clarify your expectations. That's very important. After the betrayal, you really need to sit down and what are my expectations? Did I have so much high expectations on people? You also need to understand people are human. We have our weaknesses. You also have your weaknesses. You have also hurt other people. You've also betrayed other people. You've also rejected other people. And so it's always good also to be objective and to look at your expectations. And especially even when you enter into a relationship, it's very good to be clear and to look at all issues. So putting also safeguards in place. So what hurt you? Was it where you are too vulnerable? You also opened yourself too much? So it's also important as you are rebuilding trust to put safeguards to the relationships so that also you are not hurt again. And there's also that possibility you get somebody being hurt again and again. They get into a relationship, they are rejected, then they are betrayed, and another one they are betrayed, and another one. So the issue is you need to step back and maybe check on them. Have you put safeguards in place so that you protect also yourself and your heart? So trust again, but slowly and wisely. So it's important even when you're trusting people, you just do it slow, especially after being hurt and going through a process. You do it slowly, but also you get some wisdom, and you always learn from the mistakes and what you've done. So just to finish, it's a very, I wish you can get my book and go to all the details. So the other one is the reflection questions that are, they are there for us to think about. So one of the questions is, how have you responded to betrayal or retreat Is it by retreating, revenge, or renewal? These are some of the three ways we when we are betrayed. Either you retreat, you go down, you keep off, and you are quiet. Number two is you figure out on how to revenge and get back. Or number three is renewal. For me, I would propose that renewal. Renewal is better. It's refocusing. Heal, refocus, it's gone. If they were to go, it's okay, let them go. Life is a parting. God will bring other opportunities and other people, and you start a renewal. You refocus on ahead. You don't focus on what happened. You don't waste your time on that. You move ahead. So that is a good question you can ask yourself. You can check on your life. Are you carrying any unresolved bitterness? This is an area we do. We carry bitternesses for people who left, for people who betrayed us. And bitterness is dangerous. It harms us. It blocks the flow of God in our lives. It attacks our identity, because the more you are carrying bitterness, that is not the identity that God gave you. He created you in His likeness and His image. And that is what, and we need to run from our role model. And one of the verses I love is Philippians 2:5. Have the mind of Christ, just as He is. We need to think of Jesus. Father, forgive them, for they don't know what they do. Nobody can go through the betrayal that Jesus went through. And then He had the leadership maturity and the spiritual maturity to say, Father, forgive them. Oh, how I pray that this is also for myself, any bitterness. And I'm human and we struggle, but this is an area we really need to think about, to free our hearts and our souls from the bondages of what happened years ago. There are people, sorry to say, there are people right now, something happened 20, 30 years ago, they're still bitter, still causing them pain. And the other guy who really messed them, they are free, they are okay up there. That is not fair. Don't allow bitterness to be in your heart. It's dangerous, it's toxic, it will destroy your vision. How do you protect your heart while you're still staying open? And this is what I said. You stay open, you don't close, because as a leader you really have to go. The issue is you have what you call selective vulnerability. Just be very careful who you reveal what to who and at what particular time. And the other question is, what does forgiveness look like for you right now? I don't know. What's your definition of forgiveness? When you say I forgive, is it, you forgive today and tomorrow morning you're waking up and cursing that person and still bitter with them? And so that's a question for you and for me to think. What forgiveness really is for you? Is it according to the word of God? And it's so important. Jesus said, if you go to give your offerings and you remember so and so have messed you up or something, leave it there, just go and sort it out and then come back. It's so important. Father, forgive us as we have forgiven, we forgive others as God has forgiven us. And so the last thing I just mentioned is commit to lead with the love. That's important. And choose the healthy way that to rebuild trust. And the saying, scars are not signs of weakness. They are signs that you survived and chose to heal. That's very important. We lead from our scars. We have scars. I have scars in my life. When I look back, things I did, messes I did, and impacted me, and they are there, and I use them when I'm training, when I'm entering the young people. I give my vulnerability, selective vulnerability, to show them, hey, you know what, I'm human. Livingstone makes messes, and I'm not perfect. I have issues I deal with, and these are my scars based I did this and this, and that's important. So scars are not weaknesses. I will be very worried if I meet somebody who has no scars at all. They're perfect. They've never made any mistake. They are never bitter on anyone. They've never struggled with forgiveness. That shows that person is not honest, they are not real. And we talked about that and said when people will lead, they see that they can trust us. That really builds trust. That is very important. So scars are not signs of weaknesses. Because I have signs on mistakes I did and all that, doesn't mean that I'm weak. No, it's that I'm honest. I'm authentic. That's the word I was looking for. I'm authentic. That I'm a person. I made mistakes, but you know what? Either by the grace of God, or by leadership, or by me taught. And that's why I said all these topics of leadership I look at them from the perspective of David in Psalm 78, verse 72. He says, David led them with integrity of heart and skillful hands. You need integrity of heart that comes in being authentic, leading with integrity and all those other issues, other virtues, but also skillful hands. It's experience that comes with time. And so it's important that you mentor your family. And that's why sometimes parents are always the ones who got their A's and they are pushing their kids, to get their A's. Sometimes we have to be honest with ourselves and our kids. And when they see you are honest and you wish them the best and you want them to do the best, they'll trust you, they'll respect you. So it's important that we show our scars selectively, and they are not signs of weaknesses, but they are signs that we survived by the grace of God. And we chose to heal and to lead. And that's why we're talking value-based leadership. And this is leadership that impacts generations. So thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate and wish you the best. Even please, if this has been a blessing to you, share the link. I just recommend somebody to go through all the series that we are doing. They can get them in my social media link, in my Facebook, and also in the we have also a YouTube channel for Value Based Academy. Please, I'll just appreciate you can subscribe so that anytime there's a new video, you're alerted and you'll know. So thank you and God bless you.